So you're talking about objectivism, and you talk about objectivism being self-interest. So if objectivists ran this country, we'd have people starving in the streets. We'd have people dying from lack of health care. I mean,
quite the contrary.
Well, but how can that be?
Well, because what produces healthcare, what produces food, what produces the goods that human beings require in order to live and to thrive is freedom, is individual people pursuing their own self-interest. Steve Jobs did not build the iPhone for me or for you. He built it out of his own self-interest to make money and to create a beautiful product in his own image. Thomas Edison did not create the light bulb for me. He did it out of his passion for science and technology. So what an objectivist political system would do, what objectivist leaders would do, is leave the markets alone to create the wealth, the products, the prosperity, the medical health care that all of us could then consume. And we could consume it, why? Because we were producing stuff, right? Because we were free to produce, and we can only consume after we produce. So you need a system that leaves people free to produce, and that's what capitalism provides, and that's what objectivism upholds.
But if you had objectivists and libertarians running our society, how would a safety net be in place for those people who need it?
Well, there wouldn't be a safety net. The safety net would have to be a voluntary safety net. That, you know, think of the 19th century America. There was no real safety net provided by the government, yet people didn't starve in the streets. First of all, there was plenty of work, right? Anybody who could work could find a job because capitalism creates more jobs than people. So most people, 99.9% of people work, and they make a living. Now what happens to that tiny fraction of a percent who can't survive? That's the role of charity. In the 19th century, had plenty of charity, private charity.
Yeah, but charity isn't self-interest.
Sure,
charity is altruism.
No, it isn't. It depends. So charity can be altruism. It depends why you do it. If you do it out of a sense of duty because you want to be selfless, then it's altruism and it's bad. But if you do it out of a sense of benevolence towards your fellow man, out of a sense that other people are of value to you, you don't want to see suffering, you don't want to see babies hurting, you don't want to see people in the streets who are homeless, then it can be out of a sense of self-interest. So it depends what motivates it, but it certainly could be a self-interested motivation. And look, in addition to that, in the 19th century, they had something called mutual aid associations, which basically were insurance companies that provided unemployment insurance, poverty insurance. And there was a whole industry around these things. And of course, how did they get priced out? How did they get eliminated? When government comes in and drives out, it can provide it much easier because it just steals some people's money and gives it to others. That's a more efficient way of allocating welfare, right? Rather than actually asking people to buy insurance policies when they've got a job. So when they don't have a job, they get compensated.